Hello and welcome to EVs and Beyond. I am Richard Edwards, and today we are driving something a little bit familiar, a little bit not, but this isn't really a review. It's more of a very quick range test, and that is on the MG ZS long range. Now, if you want to actually find out more detail about the MG ZS, then pop up into the links that I'm popping up there now. We've done a pile of videos on them before. Probably the most recent one, which is valid to this car, is the comparison between the new model with the 51 kilowatt battery and the older model. Now, this one here specifically, of course, the long range has a way bigger battery. MG advertises it as a 72 kilowatt hour battery. It's actually 68 kilowatt usable, but that should mean a fairly big jump up over the standard 50 kilowatt model. It is also only 10 kilograms lighter. Now that comes from the battery being a NMC battery, a more traditional lithium-ion battery, than the LFP model we see in other Chinese EVs here. Now they're doing that, of course, because the LFP battery is heavier and less energy dense. So if you really want those big capacities, you've got to go for that more traditional lithium-ion battery. But how far will it go? Now, this car has a claimed range, I believe, of 440 or 420 kilometers. It's a 17.7 kilowatt hour per 100k consumption range. But will it actually do that in the road, and what will that mean for range? Now, we all know the car's not going to do 420, 440 every day, but how close will it get? Now, I'm not going to drive to the extent of the battery to see what can be done. That's just unnecessary. This thing has a battery percentage meter, so we can actually work out what the range is just by doing a fairly reasonable test. And to do that today, we're going to do 100 kilometers, pretty much exactly 100 kilometers, here from Mangawhai down to Parnell. So it's going to be a mix of open road, motorway, and city work. Yeah, we'll see how efficient the car is. I'm going to run the air conditioning if I need it. I'm going to drive at highway speeds, a really normal test of what you can expect if you had to do a little bit of an extra urban run, I guess. And when we get there, we'll jump on and work out what the whole range is. So yeah, let's go along for a ride. Right, so here we are, pretty much exactly, or just over 100 kilometers later. Now, when you look at the screen, it says 102.7. This car reads about 2% over. So we're going to take that as being 100 kilometers or close enough for the evidence we need for today. And the results, they are impressive. Now, while this car claims, or MG claims for this car, 17.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, we've come in at 15 flat. And that's with this air conditioning on most of the way, driving highway speeds. You saw I was keeping up with traffic the whole time. But yeah, nothing out of the ordinary for normal running. We've got about 180, 200 kilos of person and gear on board, so the car's not exactly empty. Yeah, 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Now, if we run our calculations based on that, which bear in mind this is the reading from the car, then that gives us a range figure about 453 kilometers. That is impressive. That is beyond the WLTP for the car and beyond really what I expected. Now, conversely, if we look at the battery percentage, we used about 18-19% to get here. Now, if you extrapolate that out from what we've got to a full run, then that gives you a range of a bit over 500 kilometers. Now, I think the truth is probably closer to that 450 kilometer range a limit. And you're going to have to work a little bit for that. You can't just go hardcore all the time and get a result like that. But that is still really good. And it surprised me because I'd driven this car initially and thought, is it worth the money over the standard one, or is it worth the money over a BYD Atto 3? And the answer is, for some people, it will be. That is a serious range advantage. But I don't necessarily see the standard range model or the BYD Atto 3 as the vehicles that should be worrying about the long-range MG ZS EV. If you're a private buyer and you're not mad keen on range, I, to be honest, would probably still go and buy the Atto 3. I think the interior is just a little bit more spacious. The car just feels a little bit nicer overall, and it's just a little bit bigger in some ways. In some ways it isn't. But The MG, I guess, still the argument goes, probably has the better warranty. If you like a more conservative interior, it's definitely a lot better. But there's a few little things, niggling things that I'm not a huge fan of. Things like the steering wheel not having reach adjustment. I think the overall look's starting to date a little bit as well. I think the car that this really should compete with is actually the Hyundai Kona EV. Now, that is a car that's coming up for replacement soon, but it's been really seriously popular with fleets for two good reasons. One, really solid range. That's a car that'll do 350, 400 kilometers all day, and simple system, simple driving. You've got 4 buttons to make it go, Apple CarPlay, all that. It's a simple car. This MG ZS is cheaper by a lot, like about $14,000. Has a very simple dial to drive, has Apple CarPlay, and has a lot more range than the Kona. Now, admittedly, it's not efficient. It kind of brute forces that range by having a bigger battery. That's where I think this car is really going to appeal to, is not necessarily private buyers. I think they should go for the lower spec one, or they should go for the for other options in the market. But fleets, I think this car is really going to appeal to fleets. And it's interesting that MG New Zealand, the first press car they put out, fridge white. Fleets are going to love that. So look, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, like and subscribe down there for more videos. And we will have more on this car in the next EVs and Beyond magazine out in a couple of weeks.